Welcome back, everyone, to Coin's Numismatic series, where every coin tells a story, and every detail holds a piece of American history. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and often misunderstood coins of the modern U.S. minting era, the 1966 George Washington $quarter coin. Now, this isn't just any quarter, it's a piece born from one of the most transformative moments in U.S. numismatic history. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the 1966 Washington quarter deserves a place of respect in any serious collection. Let's start with a bit of historical context. The year was 1966, and America was in the midst of major change, socially, politically, and economically. But what was happening in the coin world was equally dramatic. Just a year before, in 1965, the United States Mint had made one of the biggest transitions in its history. It eliminated silver from most circulating coins. Up to 1964, the Washington quarter had been struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. But rising silver prices and widespread hoarding had caused a national coin shortage. People were pulling coins out of circulation, believing that silver coins would soon become more valuable for their metal content than their face value, and they were right. To combat this, Congress authorized the Coinage Act of 1965, which changed the metal composition of dimes and quarters to a clad mixture, a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. So, by 1966, the Washington quarter was no longer a silver coin. Instead, it was a clad coin, made up of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, weighing 5.67 grams and measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter. It might not have looked drastically different at first glance, but for coin collectors and historians, this shift represented the end of an era. The 1966 quarter marks one of the early years of America's modern coinage, the dawn of the base metal coinage system we still use today. Now, let's talk about the design, because that's one thing that didn't change. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the familiar bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, based on Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous 18th-century sculpture of the first U.S. president. Washington faces left, his profile dignified and strong. Above his head, the word Liberty arches across the top rim. To his left, you'll find the motto, "In God We Trust," positioned near his neck. Beneath his portrait sits the date, 1966. It's simple, it's classic, and it's one of the most enduring designs in American coinage. Interestingly, there's no mint mark anywhere on this coin. That's because, from 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint suspended the use of mint marks entirely. This decision came directly from the Coinage Act of 1965. The Mint was trying to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were produced. During this period, all quarters were struck without mint marks, even though they were produced in multiple facilities. So, whether your 1966 quarter was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it will look identical, with no identifying letter to indicate its origin. Now, turning to the reverse side, another enduring classic. You'll see a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness. Below the arrows are two olive branches, representing peace. Above the eagle, the words, "United States of America," curve along the rim, and directly beneath them is the national motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one. At the bottom, the denomination is clearly stated, $quarter. The overall design balances power and grace, a perfect reflection of the ideals the coin represents. Let's move on to mintage and production numbers, which are pretty impressive for this year. In 1966, the U.S. Mint produced 821,101,500 Washington quarters, over 821 million coins. That's a massive number, and it's one of the reasons why 1966 quarters are relatively easy to find in circulation even today. However, the huge mintage also meant that quality control wasn't perfect. Many examples show weak strikes, planchet flaws, or minor die errors, all of which can be interesting to collectors who enjoy studying varieties. Speaking of varieties and errors, here's where things get fun. While there are no major double die varieties known for the 1966 quarter, there are still some fascinating errors that have been discovered over the years. These include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong planchet, like those accidentally minted on a 10-cent, dime, planchet. One of the most intriguing error types found for this year is the transitional error, a small number of 1965 to 1966 quarters have been found mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets intended for 1964 issues. These are incredibly rare, but they do exist, and if authenticated, they can sell for thousands of dollars. Another point of collector interest is the Special Mint Set, SMS. Since there were no proof sets or mint sets issued for general sale in 1966, the U.S. Mint produced what were known as Special Mint Sets. These SMS coins were struck using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, giving them a semi-proof-like finish, smoother and shinier than circulation strikes, but not quite as mirror-like as proofs. The 1966 SMS quarter, in particular, has a beautiful satin sheen and often displays stronger details and cleaner surfaces. If you're a collector looking for a high-quality 1966 quarter, the SMS issue is where you'll find the best examples. In fact, among these SMS coins, some exceptional, cameo, and deep cameo varieties exist, where the frosted devices contrast dramatically with mirror-like fields. These pieces are highly sought after by specialists, and prices can range significantly depending on condition and appearance. Now, let's talk about market value, something everyone wants to know. For a typical circulated 1966 quarter, the value is usually face value, 25 cents. That's because so many were made, and they contain no silver content. However, condition makes all the difference. Uncirculated examples can sell for anywhere from $1 to $5, depending on luster and strike quality. In top mint state grades, MS-66 or MS-67, they can fetch between $25 and $200, depending on the coin's eye appeal and grading service. But the true gems are the 1966 SMS Cameo and Deep Cameo quarters. In superb condition, these can sell for hundreds, and in rare instances, even over $1,000 for perfectly preserved examples graded by PCGS or NGC. And of course, if you ever stumble upon a verified 1966 silver transitional error, you might be looking at a five-figure find. So, what makes the 1966 Washington quarter so special to collectors today? Well, it's not just about rarity, it's about historical importance. This coin symbolizes the transition from precious metal to base metal, a turning point in modern American coinage. It represents the mint's response to economic pressures and public hoarding, a moment when the U.S. had to adapt its traditions to meet modern needs. And for many collectors, the 1966 quarter marks the beginning of the modern era, the age of copper-nickel clad coinage that continues to this day. Even though it's a common coin, the 1966 Washington quarter carries a story that connects directly to the events and challenges of its time. From the coin shortage crisis of the mid-1960s to the technical innovations of the new clad planchets, this humble 25-cent piece is a silent witness to change. It's a reminder that even ordinary coins can carry extraordinary history. For collectors, owning a pristine 1966 SMS quarter or a rare era variety is a way of preserving that piece of history. But even holding a circulated one can spark curiosity about the world it came from, the 1960s, an era of transformation, innovation, and growth. So, the next time you're checking your change, take a closer look. That 1966 quarter in your hand might not be silver, but it's pure history, a bridge between America's past and its present, between old tradition and new technology. It's more than a coin, it's a story in metal, a chapter in the evolution of U.S. coinage. And that's why the 1966 George Washington quarter-dollar coin deserves a closer look, a little respect, and maybe even a special spot in your collection. If you enjoyed exploring the story behind this remarkable coin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Coin's Numismatic series. In our next episode, we'll dive into another fascinating coin with a story of its own. Until then, keep collecting, keep learning, and remember, every coin has a tale to tell.